Stockbridge School emerged from the mind of one man, Hans Maeder, founder and guiding spirit.
I was thinking in terms of a school where people would live with one another, would respect one another, and try to understand one another. Today, this is exactly what the school is living up to.
Hans Maeder's concept to educate the whole person is fully shared by the Stockbridge graduate who returned to become director of the school, Richard Nurse.
The goal of Stockbridge School is to create a community of as diverse as possible students and teachers, which will result in a feeling of social obligation and mutual respect toward one another.
As an international humanist multiracial school, Stockbridge recognizes every person, student and teacher, as an individual human being.
I'm Carol Banker. I'm a student at the Stockbridge School, and I'm a senior this year. I've had the chance here to live closely and make friends with people from all types of backgrounds and environments, and I know that I've grown from it personally.
This awakening to human values, combined with healthy physical activity and a growing commitment to community life, is what Carol will always remember as the Stockbridge experience.
Today we're going to do distillation. We'll have a condenser here. We'll have a Florence flask with salt water here. The water will turn into a vapor, come up, come down the condenser where it'll turn back into pure liquid. Then it'll come into the beaker.
96. Is that 96? Yeah. Okay. And it's still going up.
Psychology teacher Laura Nurse skillfully guides her students to greater self-reliance in problem solving.
So I would like for each of you to take a type of learning and describe it to me.
Sensory motor skills are one form of learning that involve muscular movement and sensory control.
Okay, good. Dave?
Multiple response.
Psychology has been one of my better classes this year, and the class feels close as a group.
Aversive control.
Laura doesn't just lecture. She doesn't teach at us.
I'm giving you 20 seconds for each trial, and I want you to begin when I say go to write the alphabet backwards. Go!
I can barely do it in the front. ABC.
No. My approach to psychology is more one of humanistic applications rather than Skinner boxes and mazes and so forth.
The F is coming out.
At Stockbridge, we believe that all knowledge is interrelated, and we have developed a core curriculum program. In a core class, students focus on a particular period in the development of human culture and learning. They study every aspect of that period, not only the history, but the literature, art, science, customs, and work. The book All Quiet on the Western Front is a good example of that. A lot of you had some very good comments. I'd like to hear from you now.
Well, I think the book had a greater personal significance to me because it didn't deal like an average history book with facts, with numbers of people killed, with incidents. It dealt with the personal lives of a few people that were involved in the war.
Well, my opinion of the book is that it's a very different book than all the other history books that I've read. And this one, it tells mostly, basically the truth about what happened on the Western Front.
I've asked some of you students and the shifts from the faculty to put on a scene from Arthur Miller's The Crucible.
Charles Lott's speech brings his interest in history to the core course with this historical play.
What happened? What are you doing to her? Betty!
She heard you singing, and suddenly she's up and screaming. The psalm. She cannot bear to hear the Lord's name.
I teach the core program for the 11th grade. I coordinate and do most teaching, but as the directors of the other core programs do, I call in other faculty members in areas where those faculty members have an interest. We're trying to create situations that will activate students' imaginations and make them react to each other and understand the historical situations that we're considering. I think students feel that their whole beings are involved in this process.
I know, they were rebelling. That's what they were doing.
How can you prove that they weren't under the influence of witches and they were rebelling?
You can't.
I can't. All right, so what makes you feel that they were only rebelling?
Because they were.
There was no way to prove that a person is not a witch. So it was hard to know. It was hard to support the idea that someone was innocent until proven guilty.
The Puritans came from a city, and when they came over here, they had a lot of work to do. All their building was done out of trees and everything, and Charlie just wanted to let us get an idea of what kind of work they had to go through. And the kind of work we had to go through. It took us a really long time.
Sure. So we got the same problem that the early Puritans did in making beams for their houses. And we have basically the same tools, modern versions of them. So I'd like you to take the axe and the saw and remember the reprints that I gave you about hewing logs and figure out how you're going to do it on this log, okay?
If you recall, we'd looked at some of these plants. Some of you had taken leaves, twigs, and we'd done some very close studies of them, looking at the growth patterns. And I have here one of Betsy's sketches, which I think works quite well. There's some nice contrast in texture here, and Martha is going to tell us now how we're going to approach that.
Artists in residence John Stokes and Martha Cronin teach the school's art classes.
And thinking about the overall composition. A lot of students come here because they want to go to a school where the art credits are worth as much as the academic credits.
Inside, in the contrast with the leaves, she's looked very carefully. I don't try and impose my style on kids. I don't try and make them do what I want to do. But you get to talk about very basic things that are universal to, I think, what most artists are trying to do.
What do you think about developing it into a painting?
Yeah, I think you could do that. That we want to see some more dynamic quality come into the drawing. So it's not just a botanical study. That you're beginning to make a statement about yourself.
People find that there is someone on campus who is there to talk to all the time.
Yes, the old man with the beard.
Right.
And that was good luck to rub
That's
the
right.
beard.
That's right.
One of these is slightly oiled up. It's not bad.
A classroom is not just four walls and a blackboard. It could be a mechanic's shop. In a sense, the classroom is wherever the student goes in the day's routine. To the dorms, to the gymnasium, to the soccer field. The greenhouse is symbolic. It tells us that things grow here, people and ideas. Seeds of interest take root wherever they fall. And there is a greening of the human spirit.
We have work jobs. Everybody helps clean up the campus so it looks like a school, not like a dump. And that's one of the ways everybody gets along here. Everybody puts in a hand to do their own job. I'd like to discuss the 7:30 to 9:30 rule that freshmen and sophomore have to be in the dorm, and I don't really think that's fair, that we have to be in the dorm and juniors and seniors can go out and do what they want.
We spend a lot of time discussing changes we'd like to see in the rules and structure of the school, try to bring our ideas together and see how we can somehow set them into motion. It isn't easy, but there is room for change.
You know, I have to be there myself, and being cooped up like that, I understand what they're going through, and I think it should be changed as well.
We've established this rule because we believe in the principle of gradual responsibility. That means that while seniors who are going out to college, to work next semester or next year, need to have some independence and need to have control over their own lives, we feel that sophomores and freshmen, on the other hand, need to establish a pattern of regular study habits.
There's a lot going on here. The possibilities are unending. Sometimes I just never have enough time. Sometimes I just wish the day was a little longer.